You're listening to Tehachapi with Key Budge, Corey Costello, and Greg Garrett.
Welcome to another episode of Tehachapi. Corey Costello, Greg Garrett, Key Budge. Got a council meeting to recap. We are talking to Houchin Community Blood Bank.
We want your blood.
I remembered to tease the event that's coming up. Corey reminded me, you're not a talk show guy. We've got to think talk show. Yeah. So we're going to talk to Jessica from Houchin Community Blood Bank. We're talking about all the blood drives we've done here in the city of Tehachapi, partnering with Houchin Community Blood Bank, Adventist Health, Tehachapi Valley Parks and Recreation District, and what's coming up. We've got future events. So that's coming up, a nice interview with Jessica, her first one, and we'll have that coming up. But we had a council meeting. We want to recap that. We had some things on there. Greg, what did we cover at this last meeting?
Thank you, Key. Well, it was a relatively short meeting with everything going on. Seems like the meetings are a little smaller than normal, if you will. And what's normal? Who knows? Right? What's the
new normal?
The new normal.
I don't know what that word means anymore.
Right? Who knows? Yeah. But I want to encourage everybody, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about council meeting agendas or anything citywide, please I encourage you to call me. But we had two items that I want to go over today. One is the COVID-19 Economic Recovery Program with the federal, state, county, and city efforts. And Corey put together a nice package, and I'm going to pitch it to Corey so that you can tell us a little more quick summary about those economic recovery efforts and what small businesses can glean from that.
Yeah, it was a fairly sort of just information report for the council because we've done a lot since the outset of COVID-19. I mean, the first thing was taking this avalanche of information that was pouring in from everywhere and giving it one home. And so we did that on our website at liveuptehachapi.com and tabs for different things. And then we had a business tab that we really focused on. First of all, restaurants were a big part of that when they were forced to close. And so where could people find their online menus and that kind of stuff, and delivery options and takeout options. So we did that. And then we also gathered emergency information and that kind of stuff. But then we really, from the outset, focused on recovery because we knew eventually this was not going to last forever. So we put together a business recovery guide in March. I mean, we barely even started this thing. We already and that meant going through and finding these federal programs, the CARES Act, the Paycheck Protection Plan, the economic injury disaster loans, and giving all that sort of one home, and then also giving folks the resources for people to help them with that. Because
we were leading that effort in the county. Other cities were modeling theirs after ours. We
Absolutely.
Had a couple people, Corey, and a couple people were pulling this information together. Very proud of that.
Yeah, and there were other cities that were larger cities calling us out of the blue, just saying, "Hey, do you need anything?" And I'd say, "Can you send me that? Because I like that, and let's use that too." So a lot of collaboration. And then we kept all that stuff out. Our partners at the Small Business Development Center through CSUB, and they're geniuses. Kelly Bearden and Jay Thompson, what they've been able to figure out with all this paperwork is amazing. And then most recently, though, what really sparked this was the Kern Recovers program, which was CARES Act funding allocated to the county of Kern, and they decided to take about $25 million and put that into an economic development fund specifically for small businesses in incorporated cities inside of Kern County and then unincorporated areas of Kern County, up to $75,000. It is focused on businesses under 50 employees. So the first round of funding from the federal government, folks, I remember there were some large corporations that got small business funding. This is since it's so locally controlled, they put this program together to allow more funding, and just really it's so broad. It's open to everybody. If you're a hairdresser, you're a barber, you're a self-proprietorship, you are eligible for this funding to help recover some of the costs from your COVID-19 impact. And a lot of that's forgivable in the form of a grant. So that's awesome, and that was really what we focused on. Got that stuff on our website, got that information out. It's up there now. We've also got links to information to a couple local financial institutions where you can apply, one being Valley Strong Credit Union, the other being Alta One. And so they've got specific loan officers for this plan. This is very good. I've heard some great things from folks that have applied already, how easy it was. Good to hear, and that money can go to kind of help recover. Even though some folks are reopening, they are still losses that you've incurred during COVID-19. So that's what that was about. And all that stuff continues to be on our website, updated. Our updated business recovery guide is all there as well. So that was the big part of the report. Again, there's so much information and so much stuff coming out.
Yeah, you can't capture it in this podcast, but certainly if you don't want to go to the website and you want to call Corey at City Hall, call Corey. He will step you through it. And I don't care where you live in Tehachapi, whether you're city or county, please call, because we want to help everyone move forward, get their feet under them again, and receive some cash that has been made available by the federal government so that we can continue to help people.
And I've been taking phone calls from business owners who are reopening, and they're asking me questions about guidelines. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not the, barber board, the cosmetology board in the state of California, but let me give you my sort of translation. Been a lot of that as barbers got going again, and hair salons and restaurants. What if I do this? And I said, I'm not your expert, but I think that's okay.
There have been so many questions that they're really creative questions.
Yeah.
And they're stumpers. And so Corey and I talk about it like, well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out for you.
Yeah. But please, and I usually just say yes. So, but that's not going to hold up if somebody comes and tells you that you did it wrong.
Right.
Have we worked through some of those hiccups that the financial institutions were having with one of the county programs that they were talking about with city businesses?
Yeah, most of it was
county?
just a lot of just some confusion on the outset because this thing launched and even some of the financial institutions hadn't been briefed yet. Okay. So they didn't have all the info yet. We've worked through some of those things, minor issues. And so, yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a customer of Valley Strong or Alta One to apply for these loans. You don't need an account with them. They are basically handling it through the county of Kern. So that helps as well. And then, yeah, as I pointed out, city business, county business, it doesn't matter. As long as you're in the county of Kern, you have a business license with one of the cities or you're operating in the county, you're eligible.
The other thing I want to talk about in regards to the agenda is our annual agreement with the County of Kern for CDBG. It's Community Development Block Grant money. It's census driven. The city of Tehachapi receives about $40,000 a year. Not a lot of money. And we save that money for about 3 years before we implement a project. Projects in the past have been Pioneer Park on the north side, some curbs, gutters, sidewalks, those sorts of things. So the County of Kern is gracious enough to, on our behalf, work with HUD, which is a federal agency, to appropriate that money. And it's a good use of taxpayer dollars. That way we don't create the bureaucracy here at Tehachapi City Hall, right? So they're doing the heavy lifting on our part. And then we can put the money to good use for projects, whatever that project may be. And a couple other things on the agenda. But we can, if somebody wants to go to the website or call me, we can certainly talk about all the other items. But those are the two highlights that I want to talk about today.
Now, we've got coming up, we're going to talk to Houchin Community Blood Bank. We're going to talk to Jessica, who is our coordinator. She's the one that handles all the blood drives here in Tehachapi, and talk to her about the importance of giving blood. I gave platelets last time. First time I've ever done that, so that was a new experience.
Was the needle bigger?
No.
Okay.
No. It was... I didn't look. I closed my eyes.
No. The bigger the guy is, the harder they fall, right? It's just like, oh.
But they do make you comfortable, and gave platelets for the first time, and that goes to help cancer patients. So we'll get into that conversation with Jessica. So why don't we get
to it?
Yeah, let's get to it. And joining us today on Tehachapi from Houchin Community Blood Bank, Jessica Diaz-Conti. Jessica, you are my partner when we do these blood drives. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we want to talk about blood drives and Tehachapi, and we've had 5 already so far in 2020 blood drives partnering with Houchin. That's a lot.
That's just about once a month.
Yeah. And that's mostly been since March, since the COVID-19, because Jessica, you had reached out and said there was a need for blood, and we wanted to partner together, and it's I think it's been pretty successful, at least from the way I look at it. What do you think, Jessica?
Yes, it has been very successful, and we've been there actually twice a month and once in April for our blood drive.
And we've got another one coming up in June. I'm sure we'll probably do several more throughout the year. But the community, Tehachapi turns out, whether you live in the city or Golden Hills, Bear Valley, Stallion Spring, this zip code, the people that live here turn out to donate blood.
Giving, right? It doesn't matter what you ask for in this community. And in this case, we're asking for blood and platelets, but Tehachapi are givers.
What's your experience been like here in Tehachapi? I know that whenever I talk to you, you always talk about the positive things.
My experience in Tehachapi has been amazing. I started the account in March. A lot of donors, like you said, are givers, and they just want to help in any way they can. I get a lot of phone calls asking me what they can do, if they're eligible to donate, and I'm just here to help them.
When we talk about the blood donations, we started off with just the whole blood, but then you approached us about also maybe doing platelets, and that's been something that we've added. We partnered with Tehachapi Valley Parks and Recreation District. Corey Torres has opened up the Aspen Gym, and we've been able to expand just the whole blood donations, and that's been an important need for Houchin as well, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Platelets are very crucial for us. They're only last 5 days once we get them from the donor, so they're always in need for our cancer patients.
Can you tell us a little kind of a summary of what is a blood platelet and what is it used for as opposed to a blood donation?
So the platelets, which is from the blood, it's a clotting factor. So when the patient needs the bleeding to stop, that's what helps the bleeding process. With the cancer patient, chemotherapy, it just wipes out their whole immune system that the bone marrow cannot make red cells and cannot make platelets. So now they're at risk of infection and risk of death. So that's why it's important to keep those platelets going every time, because you just don't know who's besides cancer patients.
And it's kind of like a savings account. So whenever, you always prepare, you try to prepare your financial business and different things, but you never really think about getting sick or getting in an accident or getting cancer. And, when people give, they're kind of paying it forward. And hopefully when and if you need those resources, they will be there. That's why it's so important to give on a regular basis, right?
Right, yes.
Jessica, what's the need in relation to COVID-19? I thought I saw something today where I was talking about maybe it was plasma, but there was sort of a connection to what you all do at Houchin and the need for treating the patients in the hospital with COVID-19 right now in Kern County.
So we are doing convalescent plasma, which means donor is a person that actually had it, tested positive for it, so they built these special antibodies. We want to recruit those donors to donate their plasma, so when the patient in the hospital, they can receive that plasma, so it can help with pretty much the healing process.
And so if you've had COVID-19 and you know it, it's been, you've tested positive, you're recovered, and then you can use potentially that product to help move forward, right?
The recipient has already, it's in the hospital needing that treatment, yes.
Now, there's a lot of people that have had COVID-19, I think, or I believe, I've been told. And if they give blood, it's safe, right? There's no issue whether you've had it or not in the past. You certainly can't give blood if you're sick at that moment. But if you had COVID-19, in January, February this year, that's not an issue, right? Or passing along COVID or something like that. We want to make sure the listeners understand that.
Yes. So a donor that has the COVID virus, they can donate after 28 days.
Since we're talking about the COVID-19 and what we've done for all of our blood drives is social distancing. You've put in a plan in place to make sure that donors are safe. And we just want to reassure you guys have put in procedures to make sure that safety is paramount when we do these blood drives.
Yes, we do have a plan for both our staff and the donors. We are practicing social distancing. Our staff is required to wear masks. They are required to clean after each donor, anything that's been touched by the donor and the staff. And practicing social distancing, we are skipping a bed. Accommodate the wait time, we are taking breaks too.
And I know you've brought up multiple buses for us at some time. Some of our drives we've had a little bit bigger, so they've actually brought up 2 buses so we can accommodate the amount of people that turn out.
2 buses at one time?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
I bet those buses are not cheap either. I know that people donate money. This is a life-saving product from start to end, everything that happens here.
For the COVID, we were allowed to have 6 donors at a time, sitting in bed donating blood. And now with the COVID, we cannot have that anymore. We can only have 3 donors at a time donating blood.
So that makes it a little bit more difficult and challenging for you guys logistically, just to try and keep the amount of blood supply going. I guess that's why it's so important that people do take the time to reserve a spot and donate if they can, because and use the reservation process that you have set up.
Yes.
And so we're talking about Tehachapi and buses coming to town on a certain day, but you have a facility in Bakersfield, right? You could come.
We have 2 facilities.
Okay,
Yes.
why don't you tell us about those and how you can access those in case we're down, shopping at Costco and you want to go buy and give blood. How does that work?
Well, it depends which Costco you go to. Rosedale Costco. The closest one is 5901 Truxton Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And that one has been remodeled, so it's a very nice facility now. They do have a daycare little area for kids to wait for the parents.
Nice.
And then if you go to the Costco in Panama, the closest one to you will be Bolt House, which is 1151 5.
And can you just walk in, or do you need to make an appointment for those facilities?
No, you can just walk in. You don't need an appointment. We will accept you with or without an appointment.
Great.
Now, I've been out to the one on Bolt House, and that is a huge facility.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a tour. I got to go behind the scenes and see all the processing and the sterile environment that exists. It was really impressive going in, and not only to the patient side where you're donating, the client side, but also behind the scenes. I got a little behind the scenes tour, and you guys really, it's all about safety and making sure that the environment is pristine for these donations.
Safe for both the recipient and the donor.
When someone gives blood, it doesn't just treat one person. It potentially can treat more than one. Isn't that right?
That is correct. Up to 3 lives.
So one single donation can impact 3 different people.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that hits me when Jessica had asked, hey, can the city of Tehachapi help us out and put together some drives? I was like, yes. Mm-hmm. And I know Jessica had worked with our council member, Christina Scrivener, mm-hmm. when Christina worked there, mm-hmm. and you guys go way back, don't you?
Yes, we do. We go way back.
The next one that we're actually partnering with Adventist Health, and Christina's going to be a part of that. We're going to do it out in front of, or adjacent to the Farmers Market on F Street at Green, and it's going to be a kind of a collaboration of Main Street Tehachapi with the Farmers Market, the City of Tehachapi, and Adventist Health, who is the big sponsor of the Farmers Market. So we're looking forward to that one on June 18th.
Yes, from 2 to 6.
And if anyone would like to reserve a spot, because we do have reservations still available, where do they go?
You can go to our website. It's www.hcbb.com, and there's going to be a link for blood drives. And they can look up the blood drive under City of Tehachapi, and it's going to pop up.
That's great.
Or they can call me. My number is 661-448-7320.
And I'll tell you, I've called Jessica on her cell and said, hey, I've got this or that, and she handles it right away. So you are efficient. You don't forget, and that's the other thing that you follow through. And I know that if you say you're going to text me the next day with whatever answers they are or the numbers of donations, I've got them. So you're just a pleasure to work with. I thank you so much.
If anyone has any questions, just to see if they're eligible, I can answer those questions.
And there's also something we didn't touch on, but what I use when I donate is I have utilized the Quick Pass, because there's paperwork that you have to fill out and go through, and you can do that online the day that you donate. So does that help speed things up, Jessica?
It does, but it has to be done the day of.
Right.
Not
so
the night before, or like at 11:58 p.m. It's not going to work. It has to be 12:01 a.m.
Okay, so it's date specific. So the date of the drive, you have to fill it out. But it saves you time. You come in, either you can email it to yourself so they can scan the barcode, or you print it out and hand it to them, and it saves time. So for those that are in a time crunch, they figured out a way to help expedite you through your lunch hour if you need to make that donation. So technology is in place.
Yes, it is.
Is there anything that we haven't asked you, Jessica, that you'd like to add on behalf of Houchin, or just donating blood, or maybe any stories that you've got from success stories? I'm sure you've probably heard a few of those.
There's a lot of stories, actually.
Do you have a story that pops to mind, and whether it doesn't have to be Tehachapi related, but just something that just says, this is the reason why I do this?
A lot of donors, when it comes to knowing a story behind why they need blood, I did have a friend last year in December 2019, pregnant, gave birth really soon, went into labor, and she had her twins at 24 weeks. So they were not considered preemies, but micro-preemies. They definitely needed blood, and I reached out to her because I wasn't sure if the babies were in town, in Kern County, and she said yes. So I was able to ask the community, Kern County, to see if they can donate on behalf of the babies. They did. A lot of people responded very well. Same with the COVID. As soon as our blood drive started to be canceled in March, because it couldn't do it, Tehachapi was one of the communities that reached out. A lot of the residents, please, let's have a blood drive, because Bakersfield's too far. So with you, Key, you helped me make that happen. not just once but twice. We were there back to back in 1 week.
Yeah, we've been able to put these things together pretty quickly. It's been really nice working with our Parks and Rec district and you. We were able to pick a date. Hey, next Wednesday. Okay, let's make it happen, and the community turns out. So that's been awesome.
And blood is a commodity, right? It's kind of like the grocery store. Milk only lasts so long, and you have to, blood has to be coming in the back door so that Houchin can push it out to whether it's Adventist or Mercy or KMC. So it's a constant, people, we're always asking for blood. You hear that a lot, but it's because the blood doesn't last forever or the blood's being used. And so the need is it's a revolving door, right? So we're not begging people, but they just need to understand that this is a commodity and it's priceless. It's life. And we need to have people understand that and give, if you can give, on a regular basis. But that first timer, man, we're all about it.
Yes. Blood only life shelf is about 42 days.
42 days.
42
Okay.
days. Plasma, we can freeze it for a whole year. Platelets only last 5 days. Car accident? A very major car accident, a recipient can receive up to 100 units of all blood products, which include red cells, plasma, and platelets. That's a lot of units, 100 units, just to save that life.
Wow. And when we do a drive, what is our average amount of units?
Right now we're averaging about 40.
About 40 units each time, and one person could use 100 units. So that's 2 drives to keep one person alive, in some extreme cases. That's an incredible number.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate your availability and always willingness to work with us on these projects. So I want to thank you for your time.
No, thank you. You guys have helped me out a lot so much with this whole COVID. I really appreciate every single donor in the Tehachapi area that has donated.
Well, it's a collaboration, and it's nice to have community partners like Houchin Community Blood Bank, and that's hcbb.com, and we'll have that up on our website, and we post it on all of our social media. So, Jessica, thanks for taking the time. We really appreciate it. It was a great conversation with Jessica. It was her first time doing a podcast, like she said, but she had great information to share, and she's so easy to work with and such a pro. So it's great to have her on our team as we do these blood drives.
Yeah, and it's great that there's been such a cool response. I mean, what a testament to Tehachapi. I mean, 2 blood drives in a week, and then it seems like we're having these every other week, or that's so many, 5 in the last couple months. It's amazing how people have just keep turning out. It's awesome.
And that's not just here. That's 5 that the city of Tehachapi has sponsored. Yeah. Stallion Springs does it on a regular basis. I think they've done 2 since we've done ours. Great. And then Bear Valley Springs also. So they'll kind of bounce around within the zip code.
Awesome.
But we've probably done 8 or 10 since the COVID-19 started just in the zip code.
That's
so,
awesome.
And that's, like you said, a testament to the people that live here. So,
for sure.
Thank you for that, for those of you that are listening, if you donate. If not, check out HCBB, HouchinCommunityBloodBank.com, and they've got answers to questions. So if you're curious about something, or you can call Jessica, she gave her number, and she'd be happy to fill you in on and fill in those blanks. Hey, coming up, we've got a special July 4th podcast, one I'm really excited about, and we've kind of talked about it the last couple, our salute to our troops, our active duty troops. I am
super excited. I'm looking forward to this next one, really.
When we look at our analytics and we see that there are downloads in cities where we have military bases and our troops are there, and we've got our active, it just tells me that active duty military from Tehachapi are taking a look to see what's going on while they're over there. So we've put out a request for family members, friends, if you'd like to send a shout out to active duty military or a veteran that served. You can either call my number and leave a message, and then I'll take that recording and put it on the show, and that's 822-2200 extension 119. Or we've received some emails, and we've got a couple of moms that have said, hey, will you do a shout out to my son? Nice. He's stationed here, and with names. So the 3 of us will take turns reading those, on that podcast. So I'm kind of excited about that. And you can send those requests to media@TehachapiCityHall.com, and we'll look forward to that.
Fun. That'll be awesome.
No.
And it's a nice time for July 4th, I think. We got the fireworks display that's going to take place, and we'll have the special podcast, and it's essentially the sense of that patriotism and celebrating our independence independently.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this time of year, it's used to having these big, large gatherings, and we'll just do it a little bit different.
There you go.
Yeah.
We will conform.
Yeah. What other things do we have coming up? I know the farmers market's going to continue on Thursdays throughout the summer. Our First Fridays.
Yeah, I know First Fridays, since a lot of the retail establishments that support First Fridays downtown with the Arts Association, Tehachapi Valley Arts Association, they're firing those back up because those retail places are open. I know they're excited. I did visit one of them over the weekend, and they said the customers have been excited. A lot of people have come back, and they were talking about how much they missed coming into the shop and checking out the art. There's feature artists and stuff going on. So a few of those things are coming back to downtown, which is cool. And again, it's right about the summertime hits, so getting a little bit of that normal back.
We've talked about some future shows, future episodes that we want to do. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Corey Torres and what's going on with Parks and Recreation and the things that they are doing, and as they get ready to prepare for this summer, and what this COVID-19 means to them, and the change in how we go through recreation and enjoy different things.
And then with the school district, we have graduation here soon, and I hope we will get Stacy or someone from the school district talk about, the new change and how the graduation ceremonies. These kids are off into the world now, and they didn't get that proper send-off, that proper ceremony, and a lot of people are upset about that, and rightfully so. So maybe we can do something about that too.
They're going to have a virtual graduation. I know Stacy had chatted with her. They've got something special, up there that they've been preparing up there at the school district. So
I know they did the junior high promotion one last night, and middle school promotion, and it went very well. I think the reception from the parents, they did a very nice job. Technologically, it was kind of a broadcast that they did, and every student that was promoted had their slide, their picture, their name, their accomplishments. It was really cool. I think they did. I know the tech team over there probably hustled to put it together. So I'm excited about what they're doing for the high school as well. It's certainly different, but from what I saw with the middle school promotion, they came up with a good game plan. It's like they executed it nicely, and if it's going to be, I'm sure they'll even go more over the top for high school. So a good situation, making the best out of an odd situation for sure.
We've also got Saracoso College that'll be coming in. That'll be a future podcast. We'll be talking about what college looks like here locally with Saracoso and the online and the different things that they're going to be offering. So that's coming up on a future episode very, very, very soon. So, guys, anything else you want to throw out there to the folks?
Congratulations to NASA and SpaceX for their successful launch, and astronauts. First, 2 Americans back in space with our rockets, if you will, in the last 20 plus years, something like that. Super excited about that, and just over the hill and at the Mojave Spaceport, Edwards Air Force Base, amazing stuff going on out there, and I'd like to say that a lot of people out there had a hand in that.
Yeah. That's the cool part.
Sure. So congratulations to everyone that worked on that project.
That's the cool part when you see that happen, because whether it was a SpaceX employees or just everybody working on the stuff they're working on at the Mojave Air and Spaceport, a lot of them living in Tehachapi, you have that kind of, it's that old story, right? When you had the whatever president visited NASA and he talked to the janitor and he said, "Oh, you're just a janitor." He goes, "No, I'm the janitor who put a man on the moon." That kind of thing. You kind of get the same sense when you see that happen, and how cool that was. I mean, just to see the difference in, over a decade of where space travel's gone, and how sleek the spacesuits looked, and how this thing was controlled with an iPad and a touchscreen.
And you think the world is coming apart, splitting in half, with COVID and these protests and different things that are happening, and we have something really positive happening in our world, in our country also. So don't forget that.
There are things to look forward to. So we appreciate you joining us for another episode of Tehachapod. Send your thoughts and comments to media@TehachapiCityHall.com. We'd also love to have those shout-outs to the military and our veterans. Again, media@TehachapiCityHall.com, or you can leave them on my voicemail at 661-822-2200, extension 119. Guys, thank you again for another hopefully an informative edition of Tehachapod.
Tehachapod is a conversation about Tehachapi designed for the people who live here or who would like to know more about this mountaintop community. If you have a question you would like answered, email media@tehachapicityhall.com. We will try to answer it on a future episode of Tehachapod.